Russia is facing new accusations from a Western country which have surprised officials in Moscow. This time, the accuser is not the US. The UK Defence Secretary has claimed Russia is looking to damage the British economy by attacking its infrastructure. Gavin Williamson said such a move could cause thousands and thousands and thousands of deaths. The allegation has surprised Russia. The Kremlin has said the British Defence Secretary's quote-morbid fear of Russian activities belonged in a children's comic book or an episode of Monty Python's Flying Circus.
The claims about a possible Russian attack against the UK are simply absurd, even for strategic reasons. The Stockholm Institute for Peace Research just recently reported that all of Russia's defense expenses are just 27% of what NATO's European allies spend on their defense. So that is excluding the United States and Canada.
The British Defence Chief's statement is seen by Russia and even some observers in the West as part of what has come to be known as the campaign of Russophobia in Western countries. In this narrative, Russia is demonized to the level of a monster, and Western governments, including the UK, look for clues linked to Russia in any problem plaguing them, ranging from the US presidential vote to Brexit.
So all of these statements are coming from the defense secretaries, I think, for a pretty simple reason. They want more money. The usual conclusion that they make from their outlandish statements about Russia is that Britain is not prepared, we should have more missiles, we should have more warships, we should have aviation that would accompany the Russians when they fly somewhere near the English Channel. At the same time, the British Defense Secretary, he forgets to note that actually there are hundreds of British soldiers right next to St. Petersburg. Britain deployed its so-called battalion on the territory of Estonia. Estonia is at a distance of a bus ride from St. Petersburg.
NATO members have been growing more and more wary of Russia's actions in Europe and elsewhere, which is also described by some analysts as being part of the anti-Russia feelings in the Western military alliance. Earlier this month, Britain scrambled its Typhoon jets to intercept Russia's long-range bombers, which were approaching the kingdom's airspace. London said the British fighters escorted the Russian aircraft away from the UK and that at no point did the Blackjacks enter British sovereign airspace. Such military confrontations are not without precedent, but they have not escalated into real fighting.
In general, I think this is a very unsafe practice. You know, all of these unhealthy British reactions to any kind of Russian military movements, it's simply absurd. You know, we'll remember how the British and the Polish generals expected Russia to attack Europe in autumn last year, when Russian troops had a common exercise with Belarusian troops, and there were just 12,000 people participating. The NATO exercises during the last year, there were 120,000 soldiers participating, all in all of them.
The campaign of Russophobia in the West has been successful, as figures show. A survey by the Pew Research Center in 2017 found that Europeans are harsh in their assessment of Russian President Vladimir Putin. According to the poll, a median in Europe of 78% expressed a lack of confidence in Putin. In the US and Canada, few are confident in Putin's global leadership as well, with more than 3 times as many people disliking Putin as liking him. Nor do Russia and Russians trust the West. Survey after survey has found Russians do not trust the West and that the lack of confidence has sometimes reached record levels. The Russian government is equally skeptical of the West and NATO, most notably the schemes of the military alliance near its borders.